What's this thing on my potatoes and what should I do about it? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Let's do it. All right, my friends, these are my potato plants. If you missed our video all about planting potatoes, you can check them out right here on this channel. Speaking of my channel, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe. Subscribers tell YouTube that, you know, people care about this thing called gardening, and it also helps you know every single time we drop a new video. You can subscribe right here on this page, and when you do so, please send us an email to hello@gardenary.com because we have a free gift that we'd love to give you. Now let's talk about these things on our potato plants. So strange, right? It's flowers, and not just any flowers, but flowers that truly show that this plant, the potato plant, is in the Solanaceae family, otherwise known as the nightshade family, otherwise known as the tomato family. So potatoes are indeed in the same plant family as tomatoes and eggplants and peppers. And the time that that is so obvious is first with the leaf formation. When the potatoes form their leaves, they definitely look like tomato leaves. And then also when they start to form flowers. Now, the thing about potatoes is the part of the plant that we're the most interested in eating isn't up here on top of the soil. In fact, most of this, I think, is poisonous, actually. Not like, you're gonna die poison, but not gonna make you feel good kind of poison. The thing we love to eat is what's growing below the surface, which are the tubers, the spuds, that we dig up at the end of this plant's life cycle. So what to do about these flowers? Why are they here, and what should we do about them? Well, flowers in general on any kind of plant, potatoes included, generally appear at the end or the tail end of a plant's life cycle. Flowers usually are for reproductive purposes. Flowers have evolved for the main reason to attract pollinators, to attract animals over to move their pollen around from flower to flower so that this plant can reproduce and make more of themselves. So generally when a plant is coming to the end of its life cycle, it'll produce flowers in order to attract pollinators or animals or other things to help it, you know, keep going. And then that will eventually produce sometimes a fruit, or sometimes it'll go straight to seed. So in this case, the potato could actually produce a fruit. And believe it or not, the potato's fruit here on the flowers actually looks kind of like a tomato, but you definitely don't want to eat it. And if you have children around or any other person who might accidentally pick one of these and want to eat it, you definitely want to pick these off earlier rather than later, because these are poisonous. They can make them sick. So you definitely don't want any kids around the garden tempted to eat these little things when they start to flower. So that's why these plants, or any plants, produce flowers in the first place. But why are these plants producing flowers? Well, one, it could be because it has started to produce tubers underground, and so it's producing the flowers as part of that reproductive cycle. So it's a sign, a good sign, that it is starting to produce spuds and tubers. It could also be a bad sign that this plant either had too much fertilizer. So sometimes if plants have exposure to an overexposure to fertilizer, they'll flower sooner rather than later. Now, I don't think that's the case with these plants because I honestly haven't fertilized them. So unless there was something really kooky going on in the soil, which I doubt, I don't think over-fertilizer is the problem, over-fertilized. Another reason that can cause these plants to flower is if the nights get really cold. So sometimes when the temperatures either go really high or really low, it's kind of telling the plant, hurry, hurry up, make some seeds fast, because the temperatures are changing and you're not going to get a chance to keep your species going. So those are the main reasons why it happens. So do you want to keep the flowers on the plant? Well, I already told you if you've got children around, it's a definite no bueno. You want these out of here because you don't want kids to have any chance of eating something that's not going to make them feel good. But for me, I definitely want to cut them. And the reason why is because I love pruning for production. So because this plant is now creating a flower, that means that some part of its energy, not all, but a lot of its energy is now going to the flower and eventually the fruit and seed rather than what's below the ground. And I care about the production more than I care to get seeds from this plant. So all I'm gonna do is come in, go right to the base of this stem with the flower, and I'm just gonna cut it right off. So I could root this if I wanted to, just for the experience, just to see what happens. I'm probably honestly just gonna compost it. So I'm just gonna cut these off, and that's really just telling the plant, hey, guess what? I don't want you to produce any seed this go round. I just want you to make more spuds, more tubers. So by cutting off the flower, I'm telling the plant where to put its energy. I'm basically stopping it from spending energy on flowers and telling it instead to spend its energy on the tubers, because that's what matters most to me. So this holds true with any kind of thing that you're trying to grow. Pruning is always a way of directing. It's always a way to tell the plant where you really want the energy to go. So that, my friends, is all about potato flowers. Why they're formed, what they're trying to tell you about the plant, and if you should keep them on the plant. Now, if you're interested in the experience of watching a seed form, I actually got a package of potato seed this year from Botanical Interests. I was like, I've never even seen a potato seed. But if you're interested in just kind of watching that whole process happen, then you could absolutely let 1 or 2 of your plants flower and form seed. Just make sure that no children or pets or whatever are around the plant and would be tempted to eat them. But for me, I am not that interested in growing seed. I'm more interested in growing potatoes. So I'm gonna cut the flowers and keep my plants producing. Tell me what you would do with the flowers in the comments below, or any questions you have about growing potatoes. And don't forget to email us at hello@gardenary.com as soon as you subscribe to the channel, so we can give you your free gift from Gardenary. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.